it's raining heavily outside. Man B stands in front of the window with black hair and a medical gown and says, "Why is it raining so hard? Today, because of the rain, there will be no patient, everything seems gloomy." On the street, a man passes a pedestrian crossing holding a dark blue umbrella. And next to a man with an orange umbrella, he stands out from everyone because of the color of the umbrella. Meanwhile, the doctor in the office is holding a fly swatter in his hands and trying to get rid of the annoying fly. And in general, what kind of flies fly in this weather in his office? It's raining, so there are no patients. If it's raining outside, then it's night at all. That's the phrase we use in the industry. The doctor is tired of catching flies, sit down in a chair to rest a little and think about anything. He is a physiotherapist, or rather, a chiropractor, to put it more professionally. A fat and unpleasant grandfather is sitting on a bed and rudely tells the doctor, "Hey, come here and put a hot water bottle on my back." It may seem to ordinary people that he is just sticking electric hot water bottles. The doctor, smiling and politely, answers this rude grandfather, "Let me examine you first." And his grandfather looked at him suspiciously. "He pleases me when he takes off the hot water bottles after a long time of use." The old man, picking his ear with his finger viciously and disrespectfully, answers, "You see, I'm terribly busy, so quickly put everything on." The doctor obediently agrees. However, even for muscle, menstrual and nervous pains, and no matter how severe the pain is, it is possible to provide treatment with just a couple of hands. He was a well-known therapist at a rehabilitation clinic. In appearance, the clinic was modern and the equipment was expensive. There are two things that are considered important for physiotherapists. Thanks to my social skills and sleight of hand. A pleasant-looking woman lying on a cot asks, "Doctor, you're no worse than the director here, aren't you?" The doctor pulls her hands, and in the meantime she continues to talk. "I'm sure you earn a lot, and if you leave here, you can open your own clinic, right?" He easily agrees with people and even took out a loan to set up his own clinic. And there is still a heavy downpour on the street, and people are in a hurry and walking along the pedestrian crossing, holding umbrellas in their hands so as not to get wet. Meanwhile, in the doctor's office, a message comes to his phone. He does not hurry up to see who wrote it. Look, he sees what Jae-yoon wrote to him. "I'll see you after work, I'll be waiting for you in the cafe in front of the clinic." The doctor read it carefully. It is equal to 6 o'clock when it comes again from Jae-yoon at all. "I've arrived." But before that, the doctor offered to go with him and Jae-shin to a bar to have a few drinks and relax. But she refused. She needs to talk to him, and it won't take long. He agreed to this conversation. The doctor got ready, taking an umbrella so as not to get wet, and went to a coffee shop to talk to Jae-yoon. After opening the door, he put his umbrella in a special umbrella stand. And he started looking for Jae-yoon in confusion. Meanwhile, she ordered a coffee and sat on the phone waiting for him. Seeing her, he is very happy. Sitting down, he asks, "Why are you sitting in the corner? I barely found you." And she replies that she just sat down. In front of the doctor sits his sweet girl, holding a 10 iPhone in her hands and wearing a black jacket and a gray jacket under it. They have been dating for 10 years. The doctor asks in confusion, "You don't usually sit in a corner like this." She responds rudely, "What do you even know about me?" Exhales and says, "Forget about my words." She called him because she wanted to say something. Maybe. The doctor's hands began to twitch. He felt it at that very moment. Pulling himself together, he said, "Can we break up?" After his words, there was silence for about 2 minutes. They looked at each other. She was lost in his words. The doctor then begins to talk. "Isn't that what you were trying to say?" He thought maybe she had something else, but it wasn't. She wanted to say exactly that to him, since she had another one. The new boyfriend is also a doctor, and unlike him, the boyfriend has a future. The doctor sat and listened to all this. She took one last look at him and left. Meanwhile, the doctor's whole life changed. His beloved, whom he had been protecting like a diamond for all these 10 years, took and betrayed him like that. He fell into a complete depression. Jae-yoon went outside to her new boyfriend. He opens the door for her so that she can easily sit down. The boyfriend was dressed in a strict suit with a white tie and slicked back hair. She gets into a white Mercedes S60 HACM. The doctor continued to sit in the cafe for a while, blowing all her words. "Then I went to a bar to have a drink and forget about this situation a little." He sat in the corner to be alone. There was a bald man dressed in a strict suit behind him. Two girls were sitting not far from the doctor. One was with a short haircut and dressed in a jacket and jeans, and her girlfriend with long hair and dressed like an ordinary office worker. And then he notices his friend. He came into the bar cheerful and didn't know the whole situation he was talking about. "I knew that everything would turn out this way. Why are you sitting sulking in a corner?" And he answers sadly and indistinctly, "Ha ko jai shik." And then the doctor tells him everything. Every last detail. Jai Shik abruptly puts down a shot of vodka, so much so that he spills a little and asks, "What did you say? Are you saying Jai Yun Nuna is cheating on you? Is that why you asked her to break up again?" Jai Shik starts to support him. "You're very talented too, aren't you? You have your own clinic and position." The doctor asks you to keep it down, says, but he spoke so strongly that the man at the next table hears everything. He casts a negative look and turns away. A very long time passes. They drank so much that Jai Shik couldn't walk. Going outside, night fell, it stopped raining. The doctor is waiting for the taxi driver to take Jai Shik home. Putting him in the car, he rubs that there are so many girls in the bar. And now he's left alone. He gets cold and looking at the sky remembers today. And he thinks that for a miserable life, unable to withstand emotions, he begins to cry. There is a lump in his throat, he cannot say a word. And then he notices a shooting star and thinks, "My life is so pathetic, can I at least make a wish?" Kneeling down, he makes a wish. "Let me become the best physiotherapist. To earn a lot." Exactly, honor. "It would be nice if I could regain my honor again." And he remembers the words of his girlfriend. And then he keeps guessing. "May I become a physiotherapist who will never lose to that doctor." Looking up, he notices how the same star is flying at him. He does not have time to escape. He loses consciousness and thinks, "Whether he died, I even died worthlessly." And then a window with an inscription. Launching a level improvement system. A sunny day. People are going about their business on the street. When he regains consciousness, the doctor takes his hand behind his head and says to himself, "Ah, it feels like my head is exploding. I had too much to drink yesterday." That night, his body is unconscious. The police raise it with bewilderment. After rubbing his eyes, he says to himself, "It was so embarrassing." Abruptly remembers about the shooting star. But today a patient signed up for him. After drinking energy to recover, he looks at the clock. And then he has to knock on the office, so he thanks the doctor. Confused meets the patient. The patient comes in with his hand on his neck, dressed in a jacket and hoodie. The patient is talking. "I am terribly tormented by my back, look at it, please." The doctor says he will look now. The patient pulled his left hip while carrying things, and the pain does not go away, whatever he does. And grimaces in pain. The doctor says, "Let's take a look. Come here, please." He starts to inspect it, and then a window with the text appears. Quest. Training begins. Cure the patient and earn 20 points. Passing the training will give a special opportunity. A reward for passing, a special opportunity. The doctor saw the window and did not understand where it came from. He thinks that he has a kloogie and decided to rub his eyes. But the window never disappeared because it happens right in front of his eyes. He falls to the floor and stretches and says, "What the fuck is this?" Patient, hearing the doctor's cry, turns around and says with tears in his eyes, "Is it that bad with my lower back?" But the doctor was frightened by another, words that appeared sharply not at the top. He points with his finger and asks the patient if he sees the text from above. The patient began to turn his head to see, but could not find a window with the words. This means that only the doctor himself can see it. But the doctor continues to point with fright at the window in which the notification came to him. "Do you want to use your primary points to level up?" Displaying possible improvements. All possible pumping of his body is displayed. With 5 points he can get Magic Hands LVL1, Magic Eyes LVL1, Magic Brain LVL1, Magic Face LVL1, Magic Mouth LVL1. The doctor does not understand his eyes, it all seems supernatural to him. The doctor sitting on the bed and trembling with pain in the lower back says, "Are you not going to start?" He pulled himself together and decided to treat the patient first and then deal with the window that appeared. Getting up from the floor, he asks for forgiveness. For him, as usual, the patient comes first. The doctor began to examine him, and then the window changes from blue to red, and the text with the appeal comes out. "Attention, the level of your magic eyes is too low to identify and understand the patient's illness. You will be able to get more detailed information about the patient if you raise the level of your magic eyes. But this time he wasn't too scared and just looked and then decided to concentrate so as not to be distracted by the window. Begins to think logically. This patient seems to have injured his lower back on the light side. He should have restricted movement, or otherwise he would have lower back pain. The doctor roughly imagines that the patient has raised and logically builds a chain. This would lead to a strengthening of the muscles on the right side and a weakening of the left. If that's the case, then I need to strengthen the muscles on my left side. Let's make some light movements. The doctor quickly took what he needed and comes with a balancing disc. Putting the disc on the floor, he asked to sit down. He sat down with pain, and the doctor naturally helps and then explains why he does it. The goal is to achieve balance in your body and avoid a heavy load on the left side. The doctor slowly tilts him to the right, taking him by the right side of the body. The doctor takes both sides of the body, and the patient speaks plaintively. When I increase the load, the pain becomes much stronger. And it's exciting. Putting the patient on the floor, he barely sits holding himself by the waist. The doctor again notices how the text changes in the window. Attention, the level of your magic eyes is too low to identify and understand the patient's illness. Clumsy handling of the patient can lead to his discomfort. The doctor thinks in a misunderstanding. What? So my treatment was wrong. The patient sitting again feels acute pain in the lower back and tells the doctor. Doctor, can you try another method or something? The doctor answers in confusion. Please wait. He decides to do this incomprehensible level up. The window where it is written comes out. Do you want to use your primary points to level up, displaying possible improvements? The doctor looks carefully and first of all he improves the magic hands and eyes in order to cure this patient. Having made an improvement, the window gives out. Notification. Magic eyes have been upgraded to level 2. Now you can accurately identify the patient's illness. You need 10 points to get the next level. Magic hands have been upgraded to level 2. Now you can treat the patient more accurately and apply the necessary amount of strength to carry out the treatment. You need 15 points to get the next level. The doctor feels incredible strength in his hands and eyes. Putting his hand to the patient's lower back, he begins to treat and after a few minutes, the patient says, "Oh, I feel better now, the pain has almost disappeared. Wow, amazing." With his hands on the small of his back, the doctor happily answers, "Are you really feeling better after the treatment?" The doctor invites him to sit on a chair and then he sits down and speaks with an intelligent look. It wasn't a massage. It was a treatment. You put your right shoe on first, right? And the tongue is often turned to the left? The patient was shocked as the doctor found out about it. It's simple, his pelvis is deformed to the left side and because of this, his spine is also curved. It seems that this is the reason why he has pain in the lower back. The doctor conducted a treatment that is aimed at correcting all his problems. The doctor asks, "I think you've tried massage or acupuncture, right?" And then the doctor just started telling him without stopping what was wrong with him and why it all happened. And how not to repeat the mistake in the future. The patient listened very attentively, not noticing how much time has passed. And finally the doctor answered all his questions and made his recommendations so as not to damage the lower back again. The patient raised his hand, looked at his watch and said, "Oh, I've been sitting here for over half an hour. Gods, time flies so fast. I will go. Thank you, doctor." Putting on a jacket, the patient happily says that he feels much better and thanks the doctor for his excellent work. After the patient leaves, the doctor leans back and sighs. It would have been difficult for him in this situation if not for the window that gave him magic hands and eyes. And then the window with the text is displayed again. You have had a successful treatment. And as a reward, you are given 3 points. And an additional 2 points for training. In total you got 5 points. Would you like to use them? After looking at your statistics. Now he truly believed that his improvement really works, even the patient left happy after his treatment. And wants to improve everything else. Using his 5 points to improve the magic brain, he was a little doubtful. But I did it anyway. The notification comes to him again in the window. He abruptly gets up and reads. The magic brain has been upgraded to level 2. As a result of the improved functioning of your brain, you are now able to treat the patient more accurately and apply the necessary force for the procedure thanks to the increased ability to focus. You need 10 points to get the next level. Sitting back on the chair, he sadly thinks that this is just something incredible, but he will not be able to tell anyone about it. And then he notices the baseball books that Jae-shik bought him. Decides to read a little to understand what the magic brain gives him. He immediately immersed himself in the book. After some time, he abruptly puts the book on the table and looks at the time. Only 30 minutes have passed, and he has read all the books that Jae-shik bought, and now he knows how the magic brain works. He is very happy about it. And decides to read all the books on his specialty. While he was reading, the notification windows came. You have raised the level of understanding of the Bobbitt-Terpapia method to 1. You have studied myofascial syndrome, polio, cerebral palsy, Sagava syndrome, etc. The doctor immersed himself completely in the study of books on his specialty. While he was reading, there were no patients, and he read a huge pile of books. He admired the magic brain. Having collected all the books, he put them on the shelves. But then his friend came to him, even without an invitation, and greeted the doctor. Lee Jok was not happy about his appearance. He came to check on him, went to the box and took an energy drink without asking. Lee Jok was very upset by his arrival. He wanted to use the time that he would communicate with him for his development, studying books and improving his abilities. After drinking a bottle of energy Hyen, he asks, "Have you had any patients today?" The doctor, sitting opposite him on the sofa, replies that everything is as usual, there are few patients. And then he starts talking about yesterday's topic. "I heard you broke up with Jae-yoon? It seems she cheated on you with her colleague or something." Lee Jok, holding his face, asks himself, "Why today? Just why in the end everything happened like that?" Hyen calls him a poor thing. It was impossible to tell from his face that he somehow wanted to support him, on the contrary, as if he had come to make fun of him. 3 memories of Lee Jok's school days. In the classroom, a guy dressed in a white shirt and dark pants, kneeling and holding a gorgeous bouquet of roses in his hands, happily speaks to his classmates. "Cha Jae-yoon, will you be my girlfriend?" From behind the crowd, Lee Jok looks at Jae-yoon in surprise. Jae-yoon looks at the guy with the bouquet in confusion and says, "I'm sorry, but I already like someone." Classmates, hearing the answer of Jae-yoon, dispersed, and they flew away to stand. Lee's friend Jok says, "Shall we go to the canteen?" He answers, Yes, let's go and keep looking at these two." The guy realized that he was severely rejected. He decided to run away. At the lesson, the teacher, dressed in a gray hoodie tucked into a red long skirt, says, "I'm sure you already know that there are 10 days left before the exams. You have to be ready." Lee Jok's friend speaks into his ear during class. It's been a week since the incident with Myung Seok Han, and he still doesn't attend classes. He must be terribly ashamed. Lee Jok, while not yet getting into university, studied at Han-won High School, a place where they learn the value of unity. It's already evening outside and all the students are going home. A cute girl is walking down the street and wearing a black jacket, and in front of her is a boy who looks around. And Guy Jok, who was just walking down the street and enjoying himself. Jae-yoon approaches him. She starts communicating first. "Guy Jok, how did the exams go?" He looks at her in surprise. She blushed a little. Guy Jok looked at her questioningly. Jae-yoon was a little confused, and they started laughing sweetly. This all happened 10 years ago, and now Jae-yoon is abandoning him, leaving him alone. Meanwhile, Lee Jok responds, "Wow, rumors really fly fast in just a day." Hyen says mockingly, "I think that guy drove around in a foreign car. Hey, look at me, I stayed in the hospital even though it's dirty and pathetic, but I always have money on the card." And then she looks at him like garbage and thinks, "You will get things from him, since he has a clinic." But what is it? Hyen says that if there is a lot of money, then the girls are not a problem at all. Whether Jok is bent over answers so that he stops. Hyen puts pressure on the patient, asking about loans and offers to work in the hospital where he himself works. Hyen explains that they are looking for new doctors and the hiring process is peculiar. The hospital where Hyen works is the best rehabilitation center in all of Korea. But he's thinking to himself, "Yeah, but you're still not good enough to work there." After telling everything, he says goodbye to him and tells him to work harder, but Lee Jok pretends not to have heard. After asking around with Hyen, he lies down on the sofa and sighs. After activating the window, he still continues to wonder and think, "It's useless. It would be great if it would help Nick win the lottery." He thinks about it with sadness. He closed his eyes and remembers how his friend told him that he was a talented doctor and offered to get rid of the clinic and work elsewhere. And a friend even offered to work with him. He thought that it was possible with his skills, and abruptly getting up, going to his workplace, starts looking for some information on the internet. And yet he decides to try, to risk everything he has. He orders books with the help of which he will be able to develop very quickly since he has a magical brain. Taking the books, he thanks the man for the delivery. After coming to the bank, he learns about his credit status, which is normal. He is both happy and sad. He is applying for an interview at Myung Sun Hospital. After a while, he receives a message on his phone. Hello. This is Myung Sun Hospital. Congratulations on passing the document verification stage. Come to our office on Wednesday, February 21st at 15:00 for an interview. Myung Sun Hospital, tel. 02 345 8282. After reading it, he is very happy and then goes to the subway dressed in a strict suit. Standing in the subway and holding on to a special handle, he thinks. But what does a kind of hiring process mean? Hiring, don't tell me how annoying it is. I even closed the clinic, so everything should go well. Smiling, he goes to Myung Sun Hospital. Approaching the hospital, he is simply delighted with the size. All the best in the country should stand out. After looking at the top, he thinks with trembling hands that he needs to end this and goes to the hospital. He is immediately met by a woman. Welcome. How can I help you? He speaks politely. Lee Jok answers confidently. I have an interview here today for the position of physiotherapist. Where do I need to go? She shows him that he needs to go up to the 7th floor and there is an HR department there. Walking up to the elevator and pressing the button, he looked around. The hospital looks like a hotel, he thought. Having gone up to the 7th floor, he was shocked by the number of people since there was only one vacancy. Everyone was dressed in a strict suit, even the girls. A woman of 35 years old dressed in a white jacket and a burgundy shirt calmly speaks to everyone. We're starting the interview. We'll start with more experienced doctors. Please come through and I'll tell you your name. The first were doctors Kim Ha-na and Young Min Sun. Lee Jok sat on the bench waiting and hearing who was called sighed and muttered out loud. Phew. What a relief. It seems there are so many people here because there are so many newcomers. And then the man sitting next to him looked at him strangely. After a while, Lee Jok looked at his watch and thought. Wow, only the first group came in, but it's been so long. And then the elevator opens abruptly and a girl comes out holding her chest and breathing fast from running. Since she was in a hurry for an interview. The girl was very beautiful and also dressed in a strict suit. Approaching Lee Jok, she sweetly tells him if it is possible to sit next to him. He does not hesitate to answer that she can sit next to him and wait.